Good morning, Advocate. How are you? I don't know if anybody can hear me or not. Can you hear me? Maybe not. There you are. Hi, Denise. How are you? Hi, Tax Girl. Go away, Tax Girl. I'm kidding. Um, I don't have my eyes in, so I'm having a hard time seeing the chat. But Clem and Anna and Bernard G, welcome. Hi, hybrid. Hey, Diane. I can't see. Hi, Dory is my hero. Hey, Katrina. True Crime with Todd. Welcome. All right. Hi, AJ. Good to have you here. Hi, Merritt. Hello, just a mom. Don't say just a mom. Being a mom is everything. It was a thing I loved most about my life was, well, I'm still a mom now, but being a mom to young kids and, that was wonderful. It was the best period of my life. But, now I've got adult kids that are my best friends. So, it changes, but you're still a mom. Okay. So, hi, Bebop. Hey, Floor. How are you? Yeah. So, look, I don't know what the deal is with YouTube. And I'm supposed to understand human behavior, right? That um every now and then it seems that the social media stuff, it kind of goes through these periods, these transitions, maybe is a good way to put it. In the real world, in face-to-face relationships, um there will always be periods of change, and those periods of change are always very difficult. um, it is not really even possible, I don't think, for there to be change in a person's life that is not difficult, and that even includes things that would be considered like happy, positive change. One of the most difficult things that one of your kids can do is to go off to college, right? Which you would think that would be a really happy, joyful, exciting period of time, that you've applied to college and now you're finally going to get trained to do the kind of job that's going to bring you hopefully riches, um, but also self-esteem, and you'll be living a life hopefully where your ideal self is closely aligned with your day-to-day identity. And but even going to college, it actually can be one of the hardest things that your kids will ever adjust to, and often, very often, a lot of kids will go off to college. They'll be gone for 1 year, flunk out, party too hard, experiment, all kinds of things that kids do. They'll come home, they'll get a job for a while, they'll regroup, and then they'll go, you know what, mom, I think I'm ready to go back and do it right this time. Not to go and be a party animal and, be my sorority, but to actually go to class and try to get trained to do have a career. What about getting married, right? So getting married is a joyful, exciting time. I don't know if it would surprise you or not. Probably not if the statistics are correct. But for some couples, the worst argument that they ever experienced was on their honeymoon. And you go, what? On their honeymoon? Why? Well, because you've just gone through this horrible stress and anxiety of the whole wedding thing, merging two homes together, learning how to get along and work through problems, as a couple as opposed to individual. And then you go on this honeymoon where in your mind you've built it up to be this thing that you've seen on movies or just kind of anecdotal stories from the old timers in your family, and you build it up in your head that it's going to be this great miraculous thing. And most honeymoons, they're not. They are really kind of times where people blow down, and they've just been on such a high, and they've been stressed and so much anxiety. And when they end up on their honeymoon, then they end up having like this really bad argument, and they say, I think I made a mistake, we shouldn't be together, maybe spend a couple of days apart, in another hotel room or whatever. So if I ask you guys, how many of you people got into argument on your honeymoon, or, when you first moved in together with your mate, there would be many of you that would go, yep, been there, done that. So why am I saying all this? Well, because change is painful. But another way to look at it is growth, right? So it is during periods of dramatic change where we grow the most. You heard the expression, people getting in a rut. Well, if you get in a rut, are you changing? Are you learning anything new? Are you experiencing life? No, you're not. You're in a rut. And that can have some really negative consequences. However, people really sometimes forget that growth is very painful. Look at kids that have growing pains in their legs, even. That's a very concrete level of understanding. Growth is very hard. But I don't know if I've seen anybody that has said growth is bad. We may think it's bad in the middle while it's happening, but ultimately, I think that once we get through that period of growth and we've adjusted and we're back on even keel, then it turns out to be one of the best things that's ever happened to you. I heard Tiffany Marie the other night make a comment, where God closes a door, somewhere he opens a window, right? Meaning, yeah, things may get closed off to you, unexpected changes. Maybe you lose your job. Maybe you find out your mate's having an affair. You say goodbye, done with you. But even then, you still have a period of readjustment where you're like, I don't like living by myself. I enjoyed being married. I didn't enjoy being married to that person at that time in my life, but I'd like to get there again and get married again. So change is difficult. Growth is uncomfortable, sometimes even profoundly painful, but I think it's always worthwhile, just like giving birth, right? So that being said, I think that may be part of the dynamic of what happens that I've seen over the past 2 years, I guess, on YouTube, is our community. I'm trying really hard to understand this. I've got a lot of questions about YouTube from a psychological point of view, right? From that perspective, there's a lot of people trying to understand how we experience our online lives, right? There was a period in time when many academics, and supposedly these are very bright, intelligent, well-educated people, there was a period of time where academics, they didn't look at the online experience as being parallel to your day-to-day life, right? That somehow the one of the analogies that I often heard probably 20 years ago, let's see, how old am I? Maybe 25 years ago. It was with the military and higher education, research, medical centers, things like that. They were using a internet, they had internet set up, then they were all connected together to share data, to transfer a high level of digital, like binary type information, quickly between universities, between research groups, and things like that. That was actually the birth of the internet. It was not, Al Gore. Okay. But once the personal computer turned into something that was realistic, people, it was user friendly, and also it the financially people could afford to have one in their homes. That was the beginning of this new frontier. And so a lot of academics that initially were involved with digital work, and they didn't believe, they looked at it like it was going to be like an electrical, encyclopedia, right? They just looked at the utility of the internet in terms of what it had always been, which was just a massive store of knowledge and information, except for the psychologists and psychiatrists. And they were going, anytime you put more than two people together, it's going to be social. It's going to emerge. It may not if it's some generals and they're being all tough, but you know what? As soon as everybody leaves the room and it's just two generals sitting there, they just become people. Okay. So this phenomenon of online social life, it went through these iterations. Initially, it was supposed to just be educational tool, a store of knowledge, and then it emerged a little bit further to be a really good work tool. It'll be something to facilitate meetings and transfer of data or whatnot. Then it went a little bit further, and somebody said, hey, let's put a computer in every house. So they did. And then they ended up with file transfer protocol, FTP. And that was probably realistically the introduction of FTP apps that made it accessible to just the neophyte, the person that just did not have the level of concentration, knowledge, to use a basic FTP protocol. Once they did that, people began being social. I remember going into the FTP room, and it was very much like the dark web is today, right? You go into these rooms where people were communicating through FTP, and there were all kinds of conversations that were happening. I mean, there were work-related conversations, but then there were also coworkers, one of them in New York and one of them in California, but then somehow they would exchange recipes, right? They're supposed to be bankers. They're supposed to be, learned people doing important jobs. And then they're like, oh my God, when we were out there, last summer, you served the best barbecue. Tell me how you made your barbecue sauce. And then inevitably, what's the one driving force that human beings experience? And that is the drive for to avoid death, right? And so that said otherwise, that is that drive or that push for reincarnation, sex with another person. And so that began to emerge, predicted by Albert Bandura, of all people, who was really kind of known for just conditioning stuff. But he was among the first to say, hey, you get all these people that are having these free conversations online, they're going to begin to develop relationships that are outside the bounds of the utility of whatever brought them initially together on the internet. So then once they got the computers in the houses, now it's no longer every house has a computer. It's sort of like every room has a computer, or every person has their own computer. Now with the phones, it's even more profound. So it is foolish to look at the kind of in the 90s, the idea of the relationships that were happening online were looked at a little bit like your relationship that you would have with your favorite novel character, right? Like The Stand, like picking one of your favorite characters. Maybe you like The Walking Man. And that would be like your favorite character, and you'd kind of develop a relationship with that person, right? People just couldn't imagine that we would be able to get online and have regular contact with people that we never met face to face, people we never knew in our real lives. They just didn't believe that the brain had the capacity to develop attachment and attraction, and they just didn't believe that the relationships that would form would be tangible, that they would be real, and that they would have the power to influence our daily behavior. And all of you guys that are sitting in here, you can tell me right now today that simply isn't true. The relationships that you form online in your social media, whether you know the people in your day-to-day life or you don't, those relationships do eventually develop a level of influence that can affect how you go about your day-to-day life. It may be something that you talk about online or something you do online will have a direct influence on what you choose to buy in the store, right? I had the weirdest, it turned out to be so great. It was so great. Every now and then, that's the cool thing about being a psychologist, right? Especially with kids. Because with kids, their primary language is play, which means we need toys. um, and so kids don't have the insight and they don't have the cognitive development to sit down and say, well, doc, this is how I've been feeling. And when I had this conversation, it provoked these feelings. Well, kids just don't have that ability, but they can communicate incredibly well and efficient through play. Okay. Give them toys that are developmentally appropriate to their age and cognition level. And you will learn everything there is to know about what's going on in their house, what kind of friendships they're encountering in school, what kind of secrets they're hiding from their parents or from their classmates or from their teachers. But you got to be kind of sneaky about it, right? Because they're kids and they speak the language of play. And so they do things, they don't just talk about it, they do it. So one of the things I often will go into the store and just kind of walk through the toys with the idea in mind of what, like one of my patients or whatever, and what I'm trying to find out or what I'm trying to achieve, right? And I just sort of wait for a moment of inspiration, okay? And I had one of those, kind of light bulb moments last weekend, maybe. And I was like, this might be actually a very good idea. And so what I ended up doing, those balls, those, I don't even know what they're called. Mini brands, right? Mommy Ramblin' does that on her people do that on her channel, which is where I even first learned about them. I didn't even know they were the thing. And so they're these little white balls. I don't think I have any here with me, but they're these little balls and they're divided up. They're kind of like orange slices. And in each of the slice is this miniature food product like Heinz, 57 or Sweet Tarts or whatever. And little bitty, like maybe what you would put like in a dollhouse or Barbie sized food kind of thing. Well, when I was walking through, I don't see the utility of that, but stay with me. So I was walking through, I saw these balls and I thought, I ought to be able to come up with something creative that I could use this, especially for a kid who is in, an operational stage of cognition, to sort of bridge that gap between concrete thought and then higher, comprehension. And so, because I have to teach these kids things like pain management strategies, I have to teach them tools for relaxation, mindfulness, visualization. And trust me, the things you do with adults, the kids don't get. They just look at you like, what? You want me to do what? Okay, so I teach things like belly breathing, dragon breathing. We do bee buzz, buzzy bees, which is all just diaphragmatic breathing with some modifications to add a sensory, uh, factor to it. But you have to play, you have to make it games. They have to think it's fun. And then once they do it and they realize, yeah, I'm not so upset about being separated from my parents anymore. Um, so you have to be ingenious. I came across these balls. I got to looking at them, and then lo and behold, as I'm looking at these balls and I'm trying to think, there must be something I could do with these. I noticed that there was something a little different in the box next to it, and I picked it. Originally, I just thought that it was just another box of these mini brands, and I picked it up and looked at it. It was mini toys, miniature toys. And I thought, this is interesting. So I bought one because I wanted to see, and they're kind of expensive. Like one ball's got like 5 or 6 little toys in it. It's like $6, $7. And so I bought the one, went out to the car, opened it up to see what exactly I was looking at. I was looking at a miniature Etch-a-Sketch, like the tiniest little Etch-a-Sketch that you can imagine. And each new little orange slice that I opened up, it was the coolest toy from our past, like Monopoly, but in this teeny, teeny little format, like little. And I was like, this is very cool. I can use. I can't use the miniature food, the miniature toys. I can think of 10 million applications. So I ended up going in and buying a whole box full. It was very expensive, but anyway, so would I have ever in a million years, would I have ever thought to even explore something that just looked like a plastic, plain, ugly, boring ball? No, it would never even occurred to me. I would have walked right past it. But after seeing it, something caught my eye one day, and I clicked on that video. They were opening these balls, and they were like showing the little foods, and I just thought that is fascinating. What are they doing with them? Right, that was really kind of like my overriding thought was like, why are they like searching for these balls all over town and online? Like, what are they doing with stuff? I still don't know what they're doing with the miniature food, but definitely when I stopped and I was looking at it and I was thinking I must be able to figure out a way to use this, then the miniature toys, came into my field of vision, and then I was hooked. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is so perfect. So I ended up buying a box full of those, and I ended up buying, this was very nice, ended up buying a couple of these dolls. They're both female dolls. One of them is a doctor, and she's wearing a white coat, and a stethoscope, a big doll, Then the other one is a doll that's in scrubs and has some hypodermic, needles and some medicine and things like that. Got a stretcher, a little like a inside of an ambulance, and these are big. These are I guess like 24-inch tall. The doll's like 18 inches or something. No, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's bigger than that. But anyway, so you have to use these things to try to, when you're working with kids, you got to have inspiration. You got to figure out ways to get into learn about them in some other way than just words, because they're not really very proficient in their words, depending on how young they are. Would I ever have looked at those plain, boring white balls if I had not seen them online? No, I wouldn't have even thought about it. And then I wouldn't have discovered the little miniature toys. So we do know now, I think it's accepted that we understand that the relationships that we form online, our online activities, are special, they are profound, they do exert a great deal of influence and power over our day-to-day lives. The example I gave with the toys, it was so small. There are bigger examples. For example, what just took place with Nomadic Trek. I don't know. See, this is one of the things that's really got me really down today. Okay. I'm troubled. I didn't really sleep very well last night. And then I got up today and I kept going through all this insanity, related to Interview Room and in Nomadic Trek and whatnot. I don't know who it is. Benny Keys, he took credit for it, right? Like he zoomed right in. He said, I did it. Yay, success. He's gloating. I think his behavior was horrible after the fact. I don't know the man. But definitely after everything happened and what I've seen him doing, I was like, oh, what is wrong with him? I shouldn't say that. But anyways, a lot of gloating. There's a lot of questionable positioning, perhaps is a good word. And Tiffany Marie is a sweetheart. I absolutely adore her in every way, and she has a complete faith in Chris McDonough. Tiffany Marie is a believer. She truly, truly believes in the good that she believes that Chris McDonough can do. And that has no bearing on my friendship with Tiffany Marie. We don't always agree on things. Tiffany Marie and I are actually different. We've had some differences of opinion through the years, but we know we enjoy one another's personality and we have respect for each other and all that. So I've just been really troubled by how strange the whole situation is. And I'm kind of thinking, but I'm different than most people. I know I think about things in a way that is, unique sometimes, but not unique in a good way. Sometimes it's unique in a very bad way, but somehow I feel like maybe Benny Keys is not Nomadic Trek on Twitter, but that he came over to YouTube. He made a YouTube channel named Nomadic Trek. And so he's sort of now assumed that identity, because I don't see the corresponding tweets being done on the Nomadic Trek Twitter channel. So my mind is blown by the whole thing. I think the whole thing is just crazy, right? I shouldn't use the word crazy. Chaotic. It's chaotic. It's chaotic. But what bothers me is that people have been hurt. That's what's really gotten under my skin and not me. I'm not hurt. I'm an observer. I'm a bystander. No, I just saw it happen. I saw the wreck happen. I wasn't in the car, right? I just watched. But it is very upsetting because many people that I have come to care about, they are being hurt by all of this. This is I don't see where there's a win in any of this. I felt let me state this as an opinion. Excuse, I don't have the COVID. Okay. I do believe, realistically, I do think that the reason that YouTube took down that channel, I think it was because of the what would be defined, I believe, as targeted harassment by YouTube's terms of service. I think that when Mr. McDonough put up all of the tweets of Nomadic Trek and was putting it beside the dates and the things that were going on with Gabby and Brian Laundrie, and basically providing evidence that would say this Nomadic Trek, this is Brian Laundrie, and there is currently this huge manhunt, And then he ends up giving the addresses. And I know that Chris McDonough was trying to do good, right? I don't think there's anything about what he's done with the idea that he wanted to hurt someone, with the exception of maybe going after a couple of people personally, because that may have been intentional. It looked intentional. But I really kind of think the stuff that he's put up on his channel, I think he's trying to do good. I think he's trying to show, hey, this person, maybe the guy. Or in the case of Don and Candace Wells, I don't think there's a single one of us in the true crime community that believes that they're innocent. Things look pretty bad for them. But I don't think that Mr. McDonough or the people that love him so much, I don't think they really understand that this wasn't a personal attack on him. It's been made to look that way by Ben and Keys. If he's telling the truth, and I'm not convinced he is, again, the comments that have been made on the Nomadic Trek Twitter account don't look like Ben and Keys. Now, his actions on the YouTube Nomadic Trek, it does look like Ben and Keys. It is Ben and Keys. But the prose that has been used on the Twitter account, that's someone with some panache. Not a lot, not like Brian. Brian was very poetic and flowery and eloquent, right? But somewhere between Brian Laundrie's writing and Ben and Keys' writing is kind of where Nomadic Trek is. I just don't think it's him. And maybe I'm being the most foolish person on YouTube, but it just doesn't seem like it's him. But he's taking credit for it, and he's having a lot of fun. But imagine this. Let's just kind of stick with this idea, because this is what I really believe brought him down. Honestly, I watched while it was happening. I watched it live when Chris was going through and talking about the tweets, and all that. And I watched all of his stuff, and I was thinking, YouTube is not going to like this, I don't think. And then, of course, my soapbox, that I think mainstream media is getting preferential treatment by YouTube. I was going, oh, well, he's probably going to get away with it because he's part of the whole court TV, famous TV people, and kind of some sour grapes, there. But I did, I kept watching, and I kept thinking, I don't think anybody has told him, or he hasn't read about, targeted harassment and YouTube's focus and their policy that came around 6 or 8 months ago. And then I went to sleep and woke up around 2:30, 3 o'clock, and it was gone at that point. So I believe that this was not someone that targeted McDonough. I don't think that they set him up. I think they're taking credit for it now. They're kind of living out a fantasy, I think, in my opinion. No, I think Nomadic Trek genuinely he was like, who the hell are you? Why are you, like, I have like 3 followers. I think he had 6 followers when I picked up on it. Or maybe it was 16. And then it just grew and grew and grew. And Nomadic Trek just seemed irritated and frustrated by what was happening. And he seemed like he didn't know how to proceed or what to do about it. And, that's not kind of what Ben and Keys is portraying. He's kind of like, yeah, man, we set you up. We conceived of this all by ourselves and made it happen. And I don't know. It's a reach for me. I could be totally wrong. I accept it, but this doesn't match. The personality that is coming off the page as a Nomadic Trek doesn't bear any resemblance to what we're seeing now. But nevertheless, the point is that there are a lot of people, and I'm really sad for these people, not for the individual people, because many of them I don't know, but I'm really sad that once again, we find ourselves on YouTube with a community that is in disarray, right? And that because those of us that enjoy YouTube as subscribers or creators, we really enjoy what we do. We really enjoy the discourse. We enjoy the relationships and the community that we build. And there's a lot of people that are really upset. There's a lot of people that are really hurt by it. It's taken a lot of attention away from Gabby and the search for Brian. It's just a disaster, right? And I kept thinking to myself, what if it really was Brian? What if it really was? Like, if you just let your mind go there and you think, what if, then it could have all been turned over to the FBI and it could have been used to find, at least narrow down his location. But then on the other hand, you think, no way. I went back and looked at key critical dates on the Nomadic Trek Twitter. So for me, a key period was November 17th through the 23rd. Why? Because Gabby was alone and Brian was in Florida, correct? So when he was in Florida, he was also very busy. He and his dad were moving a lot of things around. There was a lot that was going on. The guy is tweeting about rosebuds and daisies. No, not really, but you get my point. He's got these tweets that he's putting out that are just so silly. They don't match up at all, not a bit. And this was a really profound period of time for Gabby and Brian. Something critical happened that he got on an airplane 4 days after he got back in touch with Gabby after the whole police thing in Moab. It was a critical period of time. He got on an airplane on the 17th, left Gabby in a hotel, and didn't return until the 23rd. Something went on. No way is he going to be on Twitter like making quotes. It's just dumb. It's not human nature. It is not what people do when they are in jeopardy. It is not. You know that. I don't have to tell you that. You're a human being. You know as well as I do. When something huge happens in your life, what do? You kind of withdraw, right? Maybe you're not calling your friends on the phone. Maybe you're not going out for Friday night drinks. Maybe you're not getting on the internet and putting up YouTube videos. So no, I don't believe that during that period, that week that he went home, flew home, he was with his parents, and he's having, we got in trouble for domestic violence. The police stopped us, yada, yada. No way was he on Twitter putting these random, stupid quotes. No way. Okay. Now then, so people are hurting, which happens every time a community breaks down. We see these communities break down all the time, and it's devastating, not for the creator. It's devastating for the subscribers. It's devastating for my cat's making a lot of noise. Quit. It's devastating for the people that enjoy that community, where they've formed these friendships. And then you get people that they choose up teams, and then you're going to have about a month, or it's really adversarial, lots of fighting, people talking mean about each other. The trolls are on a rampage. They're having a great time. And I find it to be wearisome. It's depressing. It makes you want to, stay away from YouTube for a while when it happens. Inevitably, people begin to point fingers and accuse people. Oh, you did it. You're involved. That's your friend. And you don't even have any idea what anybody's been doing because, you've been working. So just change is painful. This is a big change. We just saw a channel with 85, actually, I think it was more like 86 or 87,000 subscribers in the middle of the night. It, it, it was um, it was very surprising because it's kind of hard. YouTube doesn't, I don't believe that YouTube wants to put an end to a successful channel because they make a lot of money when you've got a successful channel. So you got to think about you guys that were, part of the interview room. He was making a lot of money, super chats, and whatnot. He was making a lot of money just from like the super chats. But how much if you get a let's say you get a $20 super chat, right? Do you get the whole 20? No. In fact, you get just a little over half, which means if there's a super chat that comes in, he would get like $11 and YouTube would get $9. And that was 86,000 people. Think about that. That's a lot of money, income that's being generated by Chris McDonough's channel. And so I got to thinking about that and I thought, why in the world would YouTube willingly let go of that kind of income? It's a capitalistic venture. They're in it for profit, right? You want to do away with my little channel? Of course, I'm not making hardly any money. Okay. Google's not going to notice if they don't have Jules's income. That's not going to show up. But 86,000 people where you've got people dropping $50 chats, $100 super chats, like they ain't nothing. That's thousands and thousands of dollars, y'all. So I don't think that YouTube was hasty. It may have appeared that way because it happened in the middle of the night. I don't think they were hasty. I think they really legitimately felt like targeting a citizen who's not putting their picture out there. They're not using their real name. They're not even really using their own voice. They're not making audio clips or anything like that. This is clearly a person that wants some anonymity. They want some privacy, right? I think that YouTube looked at this and considered, and I think they really thought, is this going to be a bad precedent that we're going to be setting? If we let this stand, if we let it continue, are we going to end up one day being on the 5 o'clock news because some innocent nobody got targeted because someone just thought, hey, I think you may be Charlie Manson. I think you must be Charlie Manson. Look how long your hair is. I think you may be Charlie Manson because you were living in California in the 60s and 70s. You see what I mean? And then some crazy person goes and kills who they think is Charlie Manson. I do think that they were really worried about legal ramifications. I think they were worried about the precedent that was being set for other YouTubers. I think they were thinking about the safety of the subscribers, that the subscribers have a right to anonymity if that is what they want. If they're not putting up videos and they're not putting their face out there, then what right as a creator do I have to go and say, oh, look, there's someone in my channel named Alyssa Marie. Alyssa Marie, I'm coming for you because I think you are a criminal. You can't do that to people. It's dangerous because there are unhinged people on the internet. Chris McDonough put out in a pure-hearted attempt to identify, find, locate Brian Laundrie. Okay, I don't think that there was anything nefarious about it. I don't think he had some mastermind to harm people. exact opposite. I think he legitimately wanted to be relevant. He wanted to help and, try to do a good thing, right? But you target this person and you say, this is evidence that you are nomadic Trek, and this is where nomadic Trek lives, and it's only a couple of miles down the road from where we know Brian Laundrie's address is, and he gave the addresses. We already had a guy. This was the most horrifying thing for me. It really made me sit back and think, I need to be very careful about how I say things, right? In terms of being specific as opposed to being sort of general. And it was this guy that somehow knows Don Wells, or maybe doesn't know Don Wells. Maybe he lives close to Don Wells. I'm not going to get into the specifics because it's not my place. But the poor guy ended up having an accusation by someone toward him that he knew Don, or he was with Don when Summer went missing or something. I don't know what the story was. But the end of the story is like this. All of these people that are worried about Summer and they're looking for Summer, those people with firearms went up to this man's house at night. His family was in the house, and the guy is going, you got the wrong guy. It ain't me. I don't know what's going on over there at Don Wells, what I call Wells Hell, right? The little hill with all of their stuff. And he ended up having to sit outside. He made a video. He made some YouTube videos talking about the experience, and I was horrified. The man ended up having to sit outside with a rifle to protect his family all night from the crazy YouTubers. Where else did we see crazy YouTubers? Sophie Long. Who remembers that chaos? People from YouTube got in cars and they were saying, everybody come, bring your guns. We got to get to the courthouse. What is wrong with us? Right? So while you and I are not going to engage in pitchfork mentality, there are some people that will. And so I just kind of think that maybe I don't think it was an easy decision for YouTube to I'm going to say deactivate the interview room. I don't think it was an easy decision. I think that they were legitimately worried about the safety of their subscribers. I think they were legitimately worried about the precedent that it would set for people like me, other YouTube creators that may say, oh, well, look, they did it. They're featuring one person who's never been arrested, well, hasn't been arrested for this crime, who hadn't been arrested for this crime, who hadn't, none of these things have happened. And yet, they're making all these videos proving that they're the murderer. We're getting into some really kind of scary territory if we take it too far, right? It's not the kind of thing that the subscribers of the interview room, the people that legitimately really love Chris McDonough and Karen and support them. It's not really what they want to hear. But I do think change is hard. It's painful. It's really painful to wake up in your favorite community, the place that you got your identity, your online identity, formed your friendships. It's gone. It is very difficult. And that period of time where you're adapting to the fact that is just not there anymore. And now you're going to have to find a new group or whatever. It's painful. It's uncomfortable, but it's growth, and growth is always good. And so, I just feel terrible. Every time one of these communities implodes, so many people are really legitimately lost. There's a lot of people, whether they're ill, or they're depressed, or they are very old, or whatever. A lot of people, the relationships that we form online, that is their social circle. They don't really have a lot of friendships and relationships, family members, whatnot, outside of that. It can be really traumatizing to lose your YouTube community, or Facebook community, or whatever. So I don't know. I just felt like, acknowledging that these people are, no matter what your opinion is about Chris McDonough, or how he chose to do his his channel, um, uh, regardless of how you choose to look at that, I think what the best thing to do is to remember that that channel was large, 86,000 people. That's an awful lot of people that are grieving. It's a lot of people that are angry and they feel cheated. Um, it is a lot. So we need to be a little more forgiving or gracious about what's happening. I've had people say things against me about it, which is sort of laughable because I'm about the most boring person you would ever want to know. So, um, but you know, I'm a little distracted because I see a good grandma says, "Hello, what is AK mad?" I don't, I don't know anything about AK being mad. Why would you say that? Okay, well, anyway, I haven't been watching the chat, but thank you for the super chat. I wish I had an answer to your question. I don't think AK was involved in what happened. I'm not going to speak on something that I'm not knowledgeable about or a part of, but I promised you, and I'm sure that he'll eventually speak on it, but it's not my place. But I can swear to you, he wasn't thinking about the interview room at the time that all that happened. He was not. He was incapacitated. I promise you. I swear he was not. I know he was not a part of it. Okay. Um, so all of that being said, you two, something completely unrelated. I had a thing that really hurt my feelings and bothered me. There's a, how much do I want to go into this? I don't think so there is a type of therapy, one of the more successful, it's called cognitive behavioral therapy. And cognitive behavioral therapy works on the supposition that thoughts, behaviors, and emotions are intricately connected and can't be uh, divorced from each other. With that knowledge that they exist as a triarchic, then it gives you a great deal of power in your own life. If you're dealing with depression, or you're dealing with anxiety, you're going through a difficult adjustment period, maybe divorce, maybe your favorite YouTube community just vanished. You're very, very uncomfortable, you're having depressing thoughts, or you're feeling angry, or you don't know what to do online, and so you can't find anything you like, and so you just stop doing your favorite thing, which is to be on social media. Between your thoughts and your emotions and your behavior, if you recognize that where there is one, you are also exerting influence on the other two, then that becomes a very valuable piece of information to control your depression, or your negative behaviors, or your mood, your anxiety or depression. So we teach people, if you don't like how you're feeling, change what you're thinking about, right? Or if you realize, wow, I'm highly anxious right now, get up and walk to another room. Okay, so all of those are just sort of these little quips that even little kids learn and they use incredibly well. Um, Telling you there's nothing more satisfying than a child who has been badly beaten, badly abused, and now you're trying to help them find joy, regain happiness, find a purpose for living, a zest for living. And you see this one child say to another child, "Are you feeling bad?" Yeah, but you know what? If you don't like how you're feeling, you can change what you're thinking about. I just watch a funny movie. What are some movies you like? That is actually a conversation that I saw happen between a very young child and a little bit older child. It was a 6-year-old talking to a kid that was around 11 or 12. That was profound, right? So, so I have to remember, there's things that happen online that affect me. And one of those things, I'm pretty naive. Well, I don't know if I'm naive. I'm pretty damn old to be naive, but I generally do expect the best from people. And I'm an open book. I really am, even like on this whole weird, YouTube thing. I'm an open book. I don't really operate with an agenda. I just kind of do what seems right. Right? You just treat people with respect, expect the best of them. When they disappoint you, then, accept it, write it off as human nature, and then move on. And there'll be somebody else interesting and fun and worthwhile down the road. And so I had one of those. I'm not going to go into the specifics, but I had one of those interactions, and I was open. Had an open heart and friendly. And in the moment, I made a choice that was bad for me. It was good for the other person, and I found out not all people are nice on YouTube. That's okay. A lot of people, a lot of narcissism. It's a great platform for people that are looking for narcissistic supply. There's also a lot of creators that are not looking for narcissistic supply. They're legitimately journalists or legitimately just extroverted and they like the interactions, with one another and that kind of thing. But, you get your feelings hurt or you get angry or, irritated or whatever. And so it does help to remember, if you don't like what you're feeling, change what you're thinking about, right? Or change what you're doing. And so in these instances where maybe people accuse me of something horrible that obviously I didn't do, or you think somebody may be your friend and maybe they're not, I just don't go to that community anymore. I just find a new community, and then those people in the new community will become interesting to me. And then I'll begin to form friendships, and then I make a new group of friends, right? Or acquaintances, whatever you want to call them. So remember, there's your thoughts, there's your feelings, and then there's your behavior. And if your emotions are all out of whack because you really love the interview room, you really were, you genuinely enjoyed the content that Chris McDonough was putting out, then you have a couple of choices to help you kind of get through this transition period that is uncomfortable. And that is, think about something different instead of worrying about true crime, because that's where you're going to notice the void, right? Instead of thinking about true crime, then maybe pick up your old hobby of painting. Or if you really like true crime, you don't want to leave it behind, maybe instead of following closely with the Summer Wells case or the Gabby Petito case, which are the cases that Chris McDonough was really working on at the time, maybe start looking for a new case that's developing and get in on a new case that's going to take your thoughts away from your focus on the interview room. And this is sort of what I did when I got the realization that I had been had. stay off YouTube a few days and watch some movies. Get caught up on the new movies that have come out. And then you feel better. And then when you come back, go, oh, well, you know, some people are just not nice. And then move on. All right. So anyway, you know, I just wanted to voice, you know, I just hate that, you know, all the bickering has started back again, all the accusations, and well, you're friends with this person, so you know, you were part of this. It's just dumb. It's just silly. All right. Let's see. That kind of sounded like the beginning of Pyromania, didn't it? All right, I got something to say. It's better to burn out than fade away. AK, how are you? You were brilliant. Have a full heart. Don't make me cry. I'm depressed this morning. Thank you, AK. So anyway, some people are not very nice. And I don't know, you know, you would think really, you would think there's so much, you would think there's so much difficult challenge, like in your real lives. You would think that being able to get on social media, that would be like an escape and you could make it fun and you could make it good, or, you know, but no, it's just as much, it's just people express just as many negative manipulations and, you know, as the real world. And so anyway, I'm very sorry for all you people that, you know, it is shocking when one of your favorite communities kind of falls to pieces, and then you get manipulated, right? You're told these stories, these things that they're not true. You know, this wasn't I've seen these. I've been a target. Let me tell you. So I was a target a year, 18 months ago or so. I was a target of one of these mass attack kind of things. And what YouTube does is your channel stays, all of your videos remain viewable, but you're not allowed to go live for sometimes 3 days, sometimes 10 days, 14 days. They change it, the punitive details, they change it all the time. Thank you, AK. Thank you. You're a very kind person. I appreciate you. So they limit how, you know, they say, well, you've been a bad person, and so you're not going to be able to go live for so many days, you know, or whatever. And then you come back and you try to do better, try not to make the same mistakes. I've really only ever seen one channel that was just whop, gone, like just finished. And it was the result of a lawsuit. So you gotta, once you factor in, I know change is uncomfortable, growth is always painful, but it's always, you come out on the other side so much better, honestly. Hi, BBT. I'm not. Of course I won't. You're here, girl. How can I do that when you're here? You're like my spirit animal. Okay. But thank you. I appreciate that so much. Y'all are going to make me cry if you don't quit. So I'm trying very hard to control my thoughts. So normally, you really do. I know that this is hard to lose your community that matters to you, and that you were getting a lot of satisfaction being a part of that community. But please remember, money talks. And I'm an old lady. I've been around a long time. Thank you so much, Anna. You're a sweetheart. Thank you. Thank you. Y'all, please quit. Please. So I've been around a long time, an old lady, and I can promise you, money talks and bullshit walks. Um, you're talking about a channel that had 86,000 viewers, and in this short amount of time, there's been money that's come in here. In the interview room, it was like this the whole time he was live. I don't have any idea how much money it was coming in as super chat. It was a lot, a lot. And you got to remember, YouTube is taking almost 40, 44, 30, 36 to 40% of that super chat. That's a lot of money. YouTube is a capitalistic venture. They want to make money. I guarantee you, it was no algorithm that took that channel down. It wasn't. And I believe that because of the size of the channel, the amount of money that was being made, right? I mean, that's kind of what my common sense tells me. A little channel like mine, a channel with a couple hundred, I think they would take our channels down without even considering it. Like, no big deal. We don't even make enough to pay the electricity bill in one of their buildings, right? 86,000 people bringing in thousands of dollars a night. Somebody had to make a very difficult choice. I believe that. And I believe it was, like I said, I think they were worried about the safety of subscribers. I think they were worried about the precedent that was being set for we creators, what they were going to allow us to get away with, right? I just don't think it was a fluke. It's so hard for me to believe that through algorithm that YouTube would let go of that much income. I may be completely off base. I could be completely wrong about that, but it makes sense to me, right? So, hey, 12 Step, how are you? If Zelda here, Zelda, everybody needs to say a prayer for Larry and Zelda, who are the sweetest people I've ever encountered. They need our prayers, all of your prayers. Thank you, Cinnamon. It's all good. We all got to say, pay the rent. We love you, Joel. Thank you, Cinnamon. You're a sweetheart. Thank you so much. Is Gonzo here? I didn't see him. Anyone wonder about the very quiet posting parting with Mike King? I don't know about any of it, Zelda. Do you know something about that? Princess Peach, how are you? CM was engaging in unsafe practices. It was really worrisome, right? It's not my role to say if somebody was doing something bad or wrong or, anything like that. But I think that let me tell you what my deciding factor was. What if the person in the Nomadic Trek channel, what if that had been my son, who's a young guy, right? He loves to go up to Colorado, go hiking, do all the skiing, do all, that. What if he had been made the symbol of Brian Landry or Laundry? Because that's what happened by doing these nonstop videos and pointing out, the parallels with the tweets and whatnot. Basically, he was taking the Nomadic Trek account and saying, every time you read Nomadic Trek, every time you look at these tweets, just remember that is the killer of Gabby Petito. No basis in reality. Nothing. And so I thought, what if that was my son, who is very private? He doesn't want to be on social media. He does, none of it. What if that had been him? Do you know how many? Let me give you another example. Do you know how many people live in hiding in this country because they're hiding from a formerly really violent spouse, living underground, so to speak? And this account, Nomadic Trek, no pictures, no audio clips, no suggestion of who they might be. They were just sort of being a part of the conversation, right? Kind of a philosophical kind of thing. It is dangerous when we start pointing people out and then saying, this person is Brian Laundrie and here's his address. Do you want to be living in that house where Chris put the address up in New York? You want to be the person living there. You got a 17-year-old boy living there who's bald, even, because being bald is sort of like a fashion statement now. It's set up. You start giving out addresses and saying that people are, this is the account of the most hunted man in America. You are really setting people up for possible serious bodily injury, right? We really have to do a little bit better. And that doesn't mean that the people that were a part of that community, it doesn't mean that they were wrong or that it's actually the exact opposite. And this is what got me so down and got me feeling so bad is the Chris McDonough carried with him, and still, I suppose, carries with him instant credibility. And I've gone through and I've done several of these videos talking about what is it that increases people's trust in another person. And and this is coming out of research from IO psychology. And one of the biggest things that will make people believe in you and trust you implicitly will be, are you well known? Are you famous? For some very strange reason, if someone is famous, if they have a recognizable face or a recognizable name, we're like lemmings jumping off the cliff. We're like, oh, I know him. He was on TV. Yeah, I'll do whatever he says. I'll believe whatever he says, without any kind of foundation of credibility at all. The second thing behind this idea of, is this person well known? Are they recognizable? The second is, are they educated? If somebody has an MD or they're like a rocket scientist or something, if they tell you something, most people will believe it. Well, you and I both know that neither one of those things equates to credibility or morality or high ethics, but people are weird. And so because McDonough has been a star, a TV star for many years, as far as I can tell, he was a TV personality longer than he was a police officer, right? Because he was on television and everybody knew him and he's friends with Nancy Grace or whoever, so many people trust in him and believe in him, and they believe things about him that don't seem to be true. For example, he really gave the impression that he was working with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, right? He really did he went to extreme lengths to suggest, I'm working with them. The Tennessee Bureau of Investigation ended up having to come out and make a public statement and say, we're not working with anybody. We only work with active, investigators right now. It just all got too chaotic. But the really sad part, I don't care about the whole interview room. There are so many great channels on YouTube, the true crime community, hundreds of great people making videos and whatnot. But it is very disheartening that so many people are so disappointed and they're so angry about the interview room. They really are. They felt very connected to Chris McDonough and his family. Um, they felt like they felt like they were given an avenue to be close to someone famous. And so just remember, fame doesn't give you anything. Charles Manson, Charlie. Remember Charlie's Girls? Remember the dead actress, the baby? Remember that? He actually has one of the most recognizable faces in all of history, more than some of the presidents of the United States. He's famous. He's been on TV. Hell, he sang songs with the Beach Boys. Good, 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 good vibrations. Just because someone's famous doesn't mean that they're principled and ethical and moral. And I'm not saying that McDonough's not. He could be all those things. What I'm saying is, I don't know him. So I'm going to really put myself in a bad situation to trust him blindly because I don't know him. He hasn't earned my trust. Right? So I know that you guys are really angry, and I know that you're disheartened by the way all this is, played out. And I don't think it's a good look for Benny to be dancing and, gloating and carrying on. I think that's horrible what he's doing. But I also am going to say again, I don't think Nomadic Threat is Benny Keys. I think he's filling a void. I think he's taking responsibility for it, but it's not really him. That's my opinion. I could be completely wrong. Okay. Satan is famous. Zelda. In fact, wasn't he like the #1 angel? Yeah. Fall from grace. Yeah. It's a long way down, right? Anyway, Zelda, I'm so glad you're here. I was worried about you after I read your thing last night. I'm so glad you're back. Tell Larry that I hope he's feeling better. Silver linings. Don't trust anyone who hisses like a snake when they talk. Now, are you trying to rope me into doing something that might not be very sweet? If the camera wasn't rolling, I certainly would. Hi, Lady Rebel. Hey, Jennifer. Hey, Bebop. Adora guy. Nice queen, elaborate, and on River Queen, elaborate on that. I don't have glasses in my eyes, so I can't see right now. Twitter account is not Benny. I don't think so, DL Smith. I'm with you, girl. It is not Benny Keys. I have gone back and read every tweet. That is not Benny Keys. Thanks, everyone, for joining in today. Great discussion. Thank you, Emily, for being here. Anna, thank you so much. I believe it's quite possible it is his real son. YouTube has right, full moon, and that's what I think I found. So, oh, there's Gonzo. Hi, Gonzo. Thank you for being here. Welcome. Sorry, I didn't see. I don't have my contacts in. I can't see. He's blaming a lot of people. It's kind of weird. Cat's Eye says, AK, when you're feeling better, looking forward to more rock videos. Everybody loved the whole rock polishing thing, AK. You're such an outlaw. He thinks it's Benny, not AK. What the heck is going on, AK? No, please, Mama Mo, he's got a list of perps. There's criminals everywhere. You gotta be careful. Jules, sending you hugs. Thank you. Thank you so much. Doxing is one of the biggest things YouTube is truly against. I agree, AP. And I think finally, there's Tripping on a Mystery. got the best name ever. I think finally, YouTube is really, really beginning to crack down on the doxing and the targeted harassment. And those are two things that have led people to suicide. We have some of the younger creators over the past 3 or 4 years that ended up committing suicide because they were targeted and couldn't get any help from YouTube. And thankfully, I think YouTube has finally said, you know what? You're right. This shouldn't be happening. So, yeah. So that's a good thing. This is all scary. Also, veterans like him, this stuff is really triggering. Absolutely, Kathy. Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to be involved with those people. Right. Look, here's my thing. And trust me, I have gotten some really not very nice comments and emails. How dare you not support Chris McDonough? He is a good man. He is a police officer. He is law enforcement. And how dare you? Okay, so that's sort of the gist of these. And then they go on to expand on what a horrible human being I am. So, but listen, hear me out, right? I don't give people instant credibility because they're famous, because I'm perfectly aware that Manson is one of the most recognizable faces on the planet, that there are many people that are very famous that I don't want to have in my sphere of influence at all. What about Harvey Weinstein? There's a famous guy for you. Of all the best top, movies in the past 20 years, guess how many were Harvey Weinstein's movies? Guess who also happens to be the grossest, biggest, most nasty, unprincipled, immoral creep in all of history? Weinstein. So you're going to tell me that because Weinstein is famous, not only has he been on TV, he makes big, epic motion picture movies. Tom Cruise comes to his parties. I'm supposed to instantly believe whatever Harvey Weinstein says? I would hope that we had learned by now that just because someone's famous, it doesn't really make them the kind of person that you would want to welcome into your home. And yet, there are people that live very humble lives that are the most trustworthy, stable, honorable people around. So I don't blindly give my trust in people. I don't just say, oh, you're famous, I'm going to trust you. Oop, you're a nobody. I'm not even going to let you on my channel because you've only got a few thousand subscribers. So you go away. I'm only going to let people on my channel that have big channels or they're famous. That's not who I am. Those people will one day answer for that kind of thing. I'm just going to let people show me who they are, and then I'm going to believe them. And the people that match my level of integrity will be the people that I embrace. And the people that make me uncomfortable and I think they're being a bit dishonest, I'm going to try really hard not to spend time with them. And I'm not going to apologize for being a real unfiltered human being. I am who I am. The person that you guys know here is the same person that my dad knew, right? So if you don't like me, then don't watch my channel and don't send me nasty, ugly emails if you don't like who I choose to be friends with or who I choose not to be friends with. Just don't say anything. Just be nice and go away to someone that you do like. All right. I don't think anyone should apologize for making money. No, absolutely not. We all need to make money. That's foolish to say that people don't require an income. We do require an income. It's silly to say we don't. So make money. Who cares? Right on, Jules. Appreciate your integrity. Well, thank you, True Crime Curator. And I appreciate you being a good friend. Thank you. Lady Rebel, AK Rocks is one awesome dude. You know what I thought you wrote? Like, I thought you said AK Rocks is one righteous dude. Okay. He's awesome and righteous. And Gonzo is awesome and righteous and real. It is terrifying, Jen. Yeah, it is. Sometimes you get to the top because you've done unscrupulous things. Very often, the people at the top have been highly unscrupulous. Just look at the U.S. Congress. I love overtime. Me too, tripping on a mystery. I think I recorded channel several dozen times yesterday. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I can't deal with all that's going on with him. It's weird. We are all behind you. Send me any of those emails. We love who you are. You're so sweet, AK. Thank you so much. Bebop. Super sticker from a very good person. Thank you, Bebop. Appreciate y'all. All right, Beverly Browl. Why are people talking about AK? I love him. He's a real human being, right? He's just people are easily misled when there's someone famous in the room. That's the truth. So, just stand on your own 2 feet. And if you have 2 people standing with you, then you know that those are the best 2 people. If you have 2,000 people standing with you, okay, that's fine. But I'd rather be confident about what the people that I was open with and chose to trust. I would rather know that I could actually trust them, that it wasn't all a game for some kind of hidden agenda, right? Emily, $10, another super sticker. Thank you. Y'all quit. No more super stickers. Okay. Can't Chris McDonough just start another channel and copy? No, I don't think so. Snow Lion. Anybody who, hey, John Q, how are you? Welcome. So I think on YouTube, if you are terminated, if your channel is terminated, then I don't think that you're allowed to have another channel. And I don't think that you're allowed to go live on someone else's platform. Does anybody know if that's accurate? Am I right about that? Nancy Schmidt says, woo, woo. She's a woo girl. I'm a woo girl too. I go to concerts and go, woo. And I know people in front of me, they're like, oh God, it's a woo girl. John Q says, hello to everyone. True Crime with Libby. Hey, Libby, how are you? One of your favorite songs came in my head when you posted from 3 years ago. One of my favorites, Sammy Hagar. What would it be? I don't follow directions very well. I see that, Emily. I see that. You know what I'm going to do, Emily? I'm going to take that and I'm going to go buy some more of the little miniature toys because I use them in a, I got to be careful what I say here. Let me think how I want to say this. So I have so imagine this hypothetical. An older teenager who loses their whole family, car accident, whatnot, and ends up paraplegic in a wheelchair and really struggling to adapt, really struggling to adjust, and having a very difficult time looking toward the future rather than looking into the past, which is where this person is thinking, all living in the past, right? AK. Thank you. You can tell. Anyway, So I ended up, so this person is struggling, to look forward. And when people when people experience like a really big trauma, like a really big loss, during that period of grief and then adjustment, they kind of get stuck in that same age, developmental age. So let's say that you're 10 years old when your life gets blown up and it takes you 10 years to recover and get back on track. Well, that means that you're a 20-year-old who's being attracted by fun things and life that a 10-year-old would enjoy. Now that can be very difficult socially, right? It can have some long-term impact on development. But what we know is if we can take that person and let them go back and sort of relive that period of time from 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, they'll generally go through those developmental stages very quickly. And then eventually they'll get up so that their age is matching their developmental needs cognitively. So this particular person, older, young adult, older teenager, this huge tragedy happened at the time that this child was like 12 years old, 11, 12 years old. And I've just not been able to get I haven't been able to get her to play. I haven't been able to get her to engage in any kind of, academic interesting thing. Can't get her to play even virtual reality games. I mean, she's just kind of just absorbed in the past and can't make contact with now or the future. So I ended up getting one of these balls that had these little miniature toys and whatnot in them. And I took all the covering off of it. So it's just this plain white ball. And there's no indication of what it may or may not be. And ended up giving it to her. And we kind of went through this, this period of conversation about, what is it? What's it going to be? Punky Banana, thank you so much. Aren't you kind? I appreciate you joining the channel. You are very nice. Thank you. So she goes through this thing and she's like, it's nothing. It's nothing. And she kept putting it down and not looking at it. And then she'd pick it up and she'd put it down and not look at it, pick it up, look it down. And then I ended up saying to her, I said, what if I tell you that there's something in there that you would never be able to imagine? Never. Then she's like, is it candy? I said, well, would you imagine candy? She said, yeah. I said, then it's not candy. So she's going through all these guesses. And before I know it, she's really, really, really looking at this plain white nothing ball. And she's just imagining all the things that it could be. And you know what she wasn't doing? She wasn't thinking about the past. And so then she ended up making a choice whether she was going to open it then or she was going to wait until this next event that was going to happen on the next day. Have a nice rest of the day. Thank you, Ms. Mola. You're a sweetheart. Appreciate you. Thank you. So she said she decided that she would open one of the orange slices, and so she ended up doing that, and her eyes just lit up, and she said, "What is it?" I said, "I don't know. What is it?" And she opened it up. She was like, "Oh my God." She said, "It's like the smallest little Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle ever." And I said, "Yeah." She said, "You know what this is?" She said, "This is what a Barbie would play with." I said, "It is what a Barbie would play with." And before it was over, she was opening each of the orange slices and she was talking and she was saying, where would something this small, what would you do with it? And I was thinking, a damn toy, $6 toy. And I've been working with this girl for 3 months. So, things happen. You just have to, understand people and know what direction things will happen and get there. And so with all that has taken place, with the whole interview room and everything, don't sit around and be angry about it, and don't sit around and be depressed, and don't say, what am I going to do to get it back? Just move forward, make you a new community. There's so many good people on YouTube. You can make it good. Lady of Angels, thank you. Saying Donnie boy. All right. Thank you, Bebop. AK, thanks. I aspire to be as good. Don't be silly. Maybe with another 20 years of experience. Yeah, and then you'll just be a crying, blubbering mess like me. So be careful what you wish for, BBT. Thing one, where's thing two? I appreciate, respect your thoughts on all the topics you bring to your community. Thank you, thing one. And really, next time, bring thing two. See what that's about. I became a member with your original account and got blocked. What happened? You're an amazing human being. Well, I'm not amazing, but Lena, I'm going to see what happened. That is very weird. When did that happen? Tell me when the blocking happened, Lena. I wonder if it was like an accidental. If the chat's rolling like really fast, you can accidentally. Thank you, Cat's Eye. Thank you so much. Are these toys available on Amazon? Yeah, they're weird. They're called. It's originally it came out as something called mini brands, right? And it's just this white plastic ball. It's about that big. And when you open it up, it's divided up like into orange slices. And in each orange slice, there's a little miniature food thing, like a little miniature ketchup or Coke, Diet Coke or whatever. So I never really could think of a use for that other than maybe if you had like a dollhouse, right? So that really wasn't anything. But when I was walking through the toys last weekend, looking, then next to the mini brands was this mini toys. And it was the same round ball. And so I bought one to see what it was, just out of curiosity, went out to my car, opened it, and the very first orange slice that I opened up, it was a little teeny tiny Etch-a-Sketch. Little, like probably about as wide as this. Like it was the littlest, and I was like, oh my God. So then I went and ended up opening up the rest, and it was like a little, I think it was Sorry. I think the game is Sorry, and a little skateboard, like little Barbie sized, skateboard. I mean, these are teeny. They're not like the, what is the one that came out about 5 years ago? No, these are the tiniest little thing. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get one and show y'all tomorrow. Okay. I took them with me to the hospital, but I'll bring them in and show you how little they are. It's mind boggling. So I think they're called, the food is called mini brands. And I do think that the one with the toys is called mini toys, I think. So made it. AK, quit. You are so sweet. You are. You need to go polish some rocks. All right. Or lay off the pain medication. That may be what is responsible for this. All right. Romeo's heart. Thank you, Romeo. Aren't you sweet? Yes. Miss Jules, I truly enjoy watching your channel and the content you share with your audience. You're down to earth and tell it like it is. Thank you. Yeah. You might as well be yourself, right? Then you don't have to pretend, and forget your line. So, all right, everybody. Well, y'all definitely made me feel better. I took no opioids. You're a trooper. I hope you're feeling okay, though. Are you okay? Are you feeling okay? Are you sore? Do you have black eyes? Are you looking like you got in a big fight? That's so sweet. Give her a hug from me, little sweetie. Bob Seger. Can't remember which one came to my feed. Great music. Was it I don't remember which one the last one was that I posted. Probably Turn the Page. Maybe stay. Maybe looking out for Rosie. She's looking mighty fine. Last time I had tons of payments, I bought $300 worth of candles. Thank you for making my point. People do strange things on opioids. They do. Some people have paradoxical reactions to opioids, where most people, when they're taking opioids, they're down for the count, like they just sleep, right? They just sleep. But other people take opioids and they are bouncing off the walls. They talk, talk, talk. They're up. They're wanting to move around. And it's like, oh my God, don't give them any more, you know. Thank you, Bebop. Thank you, thank you. Hey, Mama Mo. The purple and the turquoise is really pretty together, isn't it? Thank you so much. I grew up being teased. Bob Seger is my dad. The real Bob Seger? The Silver Bullet Band? Now you got me curious. I don't remember what that was that I posted. It wasn't the real Bob Seger, was it? I lost a friend to opioids, never taking them. I'm so sorry, AK. Unfortunately, that has been a scourge, hasn't it, in our country? Yeah. So sorry to hear that. Have you seen Sarah's video? I have about Cassidy Rainwater. I have not, Cinnamon. I'll have to look it up. I was just teasing because he was my mom's diehard hero. Well, come on. It's Bob Seger. That's the coolest man that ever walked the face of the earth. Even at 80 years old, he's too cool. He can order orange juice and make it sound like, you know, he just asked you to marry him. So. Yeah. My daughter took my card finally. Emily Flotilla. I'm very happy, Blonde PT. Good. Very good. Seen Bob twice. That's very cool, Cat's Eye. I don't think I ever saw Bob Seger. I saw, listen how crazy this is. I actually saw Alice Cooper. Isn't that crazy? Saw Alice Cooper, seen Journey way too many times. John Michael Montgomery, many, many times. In fact, we ended up making friends. Of course, I love Boston. I saw Boston often. Saw all kinds of people. That used to be my thing, was concerts. Loved concerts. Yeah, and loved going dancing. Loved Texas swing. Never did line dancing, you know. But I was at a hospital. I lost it when they announced Bob Seger has left the building. Robert Plant, yes. Warren Haynes were great shows. Absolutely. My favorite. I actually ended up seeing the, what were they called? The Cheetah Girls. Yeah. Who remembers the Cheetah Girls? I'll send some rocks that need wrapping. Do some rocks, AK. Everybody loved that video. It was great. It's relaxing. It's fun. That's what I say about the whole YouTube thing. I think that people really enjoy just seeing people in their natural environment, being real, right? You can get on television or whatever and watch produced videos all day long. I think the people that are on YouTube, I think they genuinely like seeing real people engaging in whatever it is that they do in their life. Like BBT running around the house in her hoodie. That's cool. It's cool beans. Ms. Mola is among the most interesting. Absolutely, Scottie, Nona. Yep. I'm in the mood for melody. I knew a man, Bojangles, and he danced for you. Blessings to you, Joel. I always appreciate analytical view of matters. Thank you, True Crime with Libby. Thank you. I was a little kind of down today. Yeah, but that's okay. People get down. It's all right. Have a crush. I have a crush. Boston Rex with 38 Special. Oh my God, 38 Special. There's something I haven't thought about in a long time. Love the two-step and the swing and line dancing. Yes, Emily, that is true. People used to say they could see the resemblance before my cheeks fell. I used to have high cheeks, but you get old and they fall. And I'm too afraid to get a facelift. I wish I could, but I can't. Neil Diamond. Poor Neil Diamond. He got made so much fun of, didn't he? Led Zeppelin's cool. If your adolescent client would be interested in a service dog, I know a fantastic breeder in Alabama, and I would significantly help pay for the cost. Wow, that is so generous. And maybe we can you send me an email? We may think about that. And I'm thinking about another one too that I've got. That is so cool. I learned about Glenn Campbell in a what? In a class. Is that your way of saying I'm old, tripping on a mystery? Actually, let me tell you about Glenn Campbell. He's probably he legitimately was as good, if not better, than Stevie Ray Vaughan on the guitar. In terms of a poet, the songs that he actually wrote, he has written just thousands of number one hits for other entertainers that he never got any recognition for. He was the real deal, and not this big showy narcissistic, kind of superstar. He was really unassuming and just played the guitar. That he just made music. He was kind of quiet and I am a lineman for the county. Hey, Water Dog, how are you? Chuck Berry. Well, did he do Blue Suede Shoes? I don't remember. Chuck Berry. Blue Suede Shoes, right? Sweet Home Alabama. That's the Southern anthem. All right. Mac Davis. Oh my God. He was the sex symbol. he and Elvis were fighting for control of who was the best sex symbol. Don't forget, Alice puts on a free performance right from here. I mean, his kitchen. I'm sorry, I can't control myself, and I don't have to. You're crazy. Eddie Murphy. Party all the time, party all the time. Nobody can take away our precious memories. That's right, 12 step. All right. Okay, peeps, we're done. Y'all have a very great Sunday afternoon. Thank y'all. I came on to try to, just, change some of the dynamic for the anger and the frustration. And then y'all ended up making me feel better. So thank y'all. That's why I love this community. The YouTube thing is really, really great. If you come from an honest heart and you don't have an agenda, you just accept people like they are, it can really be a worthwhile, you know, social environment, right? Yep. So anyway, AK, I hope you get feeling better, heal well. And everybody's waiting to see, some more of the whole rock polishing thing and everything. So all you guys, thank y'all for being here. Hey, Teresa, how are you? Robbie, how are you doing? Very. Take care, Denise. Okay, thank you for being here, Prepper. Bye, Carolyn. Thank you for being here. Bye, good grandma. Thank you so much. Mods, y'all are awesome. I appreciate y'all so much. And thank you for the super chats. Y'all, you didn't have to do that. I'm humbled, but I'm incredibly grateful. And then new members, thank you. I've got the Oculus. I'm going to be doing a giveaway for the Oculus for member appreciation. So we got to get that done, right? Okay. All right. Y'all are wonderful. Thank you all so much. Bye. Y'all have a good afternoon.